Hi everybody, my name is Taylor and we're going to go through downward facing dog today, or Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you are ready to practice it after we go through this together, make sure you have a yoga mat and then make sure that you have bare feet so that you can help yourself with a little bit of traction. Okay, so we'll come into down dog, getting ourselves just kind of nice and situated, feeling the backs of the legs, pedaling it out. Feels really nice to just kind of stretch a bit more onto the hamstrings, get some ankle movement happening, right? Down dog really requires quite a good bend at the ankles to get the heels to come down so that the legs can be lengthened, but they don't need to be forced straight unless you have the flexibility available there. Quadriceps are turned on. We've got a little bit of a tilt of the tailbone actually down rather than up so that you can grab onto the lower waist a little bit better. Let's try to pull in through the pelvic floor, belly button in towards the spine. We want to create a really sharp upside down V position and feeling like the length of your limbs and then the stance that you have between the hands and the feet are equivalent to the length of your limbs. We want to feel like we're not leaning forward and rounding. We don't have hyper bent knees. Okay, we want to really try to get the hips to come up, the chest to be pressing back towards the thighs, and just that little bit of effort to get the heels down. With your hands, you're going to spread the fingers really wide and try to press down into the palms so that you're activating the strength in the arms. Okay, I'm going to show you a different angle here. We'll talk about the shoulders a little bit here too. So instead of hunching or instead of rounding and leaning forward, you're going to get lots of space happening at the neck. You're going to press into your hands to take your armpits back. But I want you to watch for the lower ribs, okay? We don't want the lower ribs to be splaying out and then now we're in a back bend. Okay, we want to be really careful with those ribs coming in so that we've got a really long line and nice structure through the spine. Okay, so now that I've shown you all of the pieces, once you are up and in down dog, let's get down into the nitty-gritty of your base, hands and feet. Placement is a game changer, and if you can figure out in your body where your flexibility lies, where your little bit of tightness and restriction lies, you can always work within all of that to create a down dog that feels really supportive for you and sufficient. So we're gonna start with our hands. Our hands, we always want them to be really wide. You're taking up a lot more space to be able to root down into them. Your hands, shoulder distance apart. Now, if you're here, let's say, and you feel like pushing up into your down dog is really challenging for the arms and then they end up internally rotating, the elbows start to bend, you can work with a little bit of an external rotation of the hands, right? So that now the index fingers are forward, but we haven't clumped up the hands. We're not tenting them. We're really going to try to flatten them down onto the ground. Now with the shoulders, with that bit of an external rotation, it may help you find a little bit more space. So definitely give it a try to see how it feels for you. The rotation of the arms, the elbows, all of that also comes into play. So if you're gonna go up into down dog and then all of a sudden you're in a push-up position, your neck is really collapsed, all of this weight is going onto your muscles rather than finding a stack and a length. So I want you to feel like you can push into your hands to get the extension, but not this hunched, rounded space. We want to be nice and long through the neck, quite wide through the collarbones. So kind of playing around with where the hands need to be, what the rotation looks like of the whole arm structure that takes you right from the wrists to the shoulders. Something else that can happen too is actually a deep internal rotation to collapse the upper back, but we want the upper back, the shoulder blades to be quite neutral on the upper back, right? So sometimes little hunches can help you figure out where those shoulder blades are in place, and all of that can come to help you. All right, now let's work at the feet. So we're gonna walk up, and the distance of your feet is about inner hip distance apart. For measurement purposes, that can be about 2 fists. It might be a fist and a half depending on how wide your knuckles are. So again, this is just an awareness for you to create. But the feet being hip distance apart, we also want to make sure that the toes haven't turned out or the heels haven't turned out. We want to get those heels directly in behind the middle toes. This is the stance that you're gonna find for your downward facing dog. Okay, so we've got our hand structure, we've got our feet. So now as you start to work into down dog, we're actually gonna come down to tabletop, and I want you to feel the shoulders coming right up on top of the wrists. You have found the rotation that is required of your hands, your arms, and your shoulders to feel quite spacious, neutral, and enough to be able to hollow out through your chest. Okay, where we're gonna take this from here is actually plank pose, so that now we can work into the distance between the hands and the feet themselves in our down dog. So with here, we look at the feet, we try to create that same distance of the hip distance that we just played with. We feel really balanced through both of the hands, we feel flat through them, the arms aren't really internally rotating or externally rotating too much. And then from there, you can push into the hands, start to look at the feet, just so that the neck can release, and we lower the heels down. You can let the knees bend a little bit. Okay, we find the press of the hands. We try to draw in a little bit through the lower ribs, but not enough to create a rounded shape or a back bend. Okay, we get really nice and strong through the entirety of the torso. Neck should feel quite free here, and the head feels really heavy. A cue that I really, really like that I'll share with you today is actually push the crown of your head towards the ground. That might help you get the shoulders a little bit further from the neck. Okay, let's come down to our knees. Let's rest in child's pose. Give yourself a moment to arrive right here. Take a couple really long breaths and allow yourself to integrate those pieces of information that I just offered you. This posture, this practice is not about perfection, it's about progress, and it's about your connection that you have to your own body, to your own breath. So even if you take one of the little tips that I shared with you today and applied it to your down dog, just allow the progression to happen as it happens, and you can take more and more of those cues with you, along with you, into your down dog. So right here, kind of let the breath allow you to absorb the information, to absorb the little pieces, and to also just get in touch with being that little bit more connected to your body and body awareness, where it's placed, where you're feeling strength, where you're feeling the ground, where you're feeling the air above you. So now let's try to apply it. Okay, we're gonna come into a tabletop position, hands and knees. You've already known now where to place the hands, nice and deep shoulder distance. We're gonna just open up the spine a little bit, take some cat and cow flexions, rounding into cat, hammocking into cow. Let the hips feel kind of free to find their range of motion, and try to do the same thing with the shoulder blades. Let them kind of slip and slide along your upper back, even if it's by a millimeter of movement, or if you've got a lot of mobility, play within it. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress and connection. Okay, finish one exhale into cat. Then come into your neutral spine, nice and steady through the hands. Tuck the toes under. Remember, they're about hip distance apart. You can double check that when we lift up. We're gonna pull in through the core a little bit, tuck the chin slightly to get the back of the neck nice and long. And then let's go ahead and lift into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a peek at your feet. See the distance of them. The heels are tucked really nicely in behind those center toes. We're not collapsing into the upper back. We're not pushing the belly to the thighs. Maybe here, if you're feeling really comfortable, I'll invite you to push your armpits a little bit closer towards your knees. Okay, for the ribs, you can feel free to tuck the chin even more, like you're attempting to look in between your thighs or up at your belly button, and see if that can help you draw in through the lower rib cage a little bit. Maybe the crown of the head pushes down into the ground to allow the shoulder girdle to actually broaden. And just feel it. Feel what this down dog is creating in your body, where it doesn't just look like you're doing the posture, you are really experiencing the posture and everything that it has in store for you. Okay, so next time that you find yourself at a studio or in your home practice, take some of the tools. Take one of them, take all of them with you, apply them as you go. And again, it doesn't have to all happen at once. Just find that connection to wanting to find progression in the postures to enable the structure and to be able to find yourself in this practice. Thank you so, so much for wanting to learn more, a little bit more in our how-tos with our yoga space. Comment below if you have any suggestions, any feedback. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love for you to click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for your time today, and we will see you next time.